Howdy, howdy.
Hello, everyone.
Say hello, Steve.
I waved.
You're supposed to say hello, Steve. When I
Hello,
say
Steve.
Okay, there we go. That's better. Hey, everybody, welcome aboard. Tonight, Patrick is going to be doing the intro for us.
Yep. Are we going to do our normal? Like that's Steve, the hobo with wood.
And that's Patrick. That's Rich, Louisiana Hobby Guy.
We can if you want to. So, all right, that Patrick with Light Source Engraving.
Well, and that is Steve, the hobo with wood.
And that was who? Rich, Louisiana Hobby Guy.
Welcome, everybody. And now we're going to turn it over to Patrick. So, Patrick,
all right.
Go.
All right. Okay, guys, we got a great show coming up tonight. This show will be the show by which every other show is measured. It is going to be a beacon of light with your laser engraving. So get your glasses on and get prepared. And as soon as I finish up the rest of the intro, we will let the games begin. And that will all make sense shortly. I promise.
All right, so Patrick, tell us what you've been up to. Now, it hasn't been 2 weeks since our last live stream because we just did one last Saturday night. So We haven't been up to a whole lot. But Patrick, tell us what you've been up to for the last week.
Basically, doing jobs that are making some money to pay the bills.
I see something new in the background there.
Let's see. Are you talking about this side? That side?
Yeah.
Well, I've been working on making hats.
I see that too.
So I made this one and got heat pressed. And
yeah, give us a close up on that one because that one is just unbelievably nice. There we go.
So there's that one heat pressed on there. And well, that can segue into I'm actually going to be doing a collaboration with Josh from Lone Star Adhesives and hopefully making some how-to videos for him. So we're going to be working together. So look for those videos coming to my channel soon. But he makes a heat-sensitive adhesive that you use on the back of patches, whether it's leatherette or Gemini duets or whatever. But keep an eye out for that. But that's the main things that I've been up to. And
Jim, wait till we get through the intros and then we'll get to the questions. Sorry, go ahead.
And did we want to mention what we're doing with this show and the format of this show?
Yeah.
That we're going to try to go back to our basics and give you guys easy designs that are free that will be available on the Laser Makers Realm website for you to download. So
in a timely manner.
Yep, you'll be able to go to one link and get files that we either demonstrate, make live on stream, or at least have samples prepared to show you on camera. But that is what we're going to be doing tonight and moving forward.
And what are you doing this week?
What am I doing this week?
It's right there behind you on your left side. Turn to your left.
Oh, you want me to show my demo? All right. The first, let's see, I have a glasses stand, which is very handy. So this is the version that fits on a 12x12 piece of plywood. So if you have a 12x12 and a diode laser or whatever type laser, but that's a 12x12.
That's the one I'm going to be making.
Then I have a second version that will use a standard 4x4 mirror tile. Sorry, it's a little fingerprinty. But like this one, I have my readers, fiber, diode, UV, and then, of course, I put a little encouraging message that says, "I'm beautiful and people like me." So that is very important to have while you're checking yourself out in the mirror. And then the third version uses mirrored acrylic at the top. So it's
that's a good idea.
2-layer and has mirrored acrylic. So then you've got a nice big piece of mirrored acrylic there, as you can see. So I filled them all with glasses and just to show that they are useful. So That's where my opening statement. That's
And
where the
I will personally be making one of those, or actually, how many? 3 or 4 of those for my shop, because I'm constantly losing glasses. So I'm going to put 2 in that room, maybe, and 2 in this room. And then when I can't find any of them in any of the stands, that's when I'll stop and I'll go hunt and find all my glasses and put them all back.
Yep, I'll be making another demo one tonight, and I will use it as well. So I'll have those 4 standing around here.
All right, so let's jump over to Steve. Steve, what have you been doing this week?
Well, finally got some real progress made on the website, and so anybody who has an account on hobowithwood.com and you've not been able to get logged in and you weren't getting your emails, and there was about 20% of the people who couldn't. Well, got that straightened out. The emails should be going out to 98% of the people now. It's never going to be perfect because of all the different firewalls and it was the virus stuff that's out there, all the blockings, but 98% of you now should be able to log in. If you don't remember your password or you want to reset it, you can get there and hit that reset button, and you should receive an email to reset your information, get into your account. And the sole purpose of doing that to begin with was for everybody that has been getting files from me could then go in and leave a review about those files and just tell the world how great I am. But in addition to focusing on the website this week, a lot of you guys are patrons, and I appreciate your support. I've got my channel, the Patreon page, and this channel, and the website. I try to do a couple of files for the patrons a week and something for the website, at least 1 or 2 a week. And with 3-4 different venues, you can't come up with 8 different things in a week. So I try to incorporate them and what they feed off of each other. And so,
what are you doing for us here this week?
Well, that's what I was going to say. And so for tonight's giveaways, you guys are getting 2 files from me. One is a basic tic-tac-toe board. It's going to be just cut out of 2 layers of 300 by 300 Baltic birch, or I'm using the Baltic birch, and then this is what's going to be a flat pack that I'm going to do 3 of these for the giveaway tonight. These are held together right now with tabs so they don't fall out. They should be able to ship nice and easy, but you just pop those out and they'll have all your singular pieces. There'll be another single O in there because you got to have, I think, 10 pieces total, 5 X's, 5 O's to work. But I've got, this is the giveaway that everybody's going to be able to download. And it's got, in addition to the X's and O's, it's got turkeys, ghost and bats for Halloween and Thanksgiving. And then used Christmas ornaments for X's and O's for Christmas. Because I'm thinking, okay, you're getting ready to have a house full of kids, rugrats running around that's going to be underfoot. This would be something nice to sit out on the table, distract them for about 5 or 10 minutes and keep them busy. But in addition to the tic-tac-toe, there is a basic checkerboard. And I've got checkers included with that download file that you can cut out, and they're double-sided. So you'll have to flip them to engrave the opposite side. But that way, your first version's blank, and then when you flip it, it's got instead of a crown, it's got a hobo on it, because that's the king. Once you get across the board, you crown me. Well, you flip it over. Because a king can go what? King can move in every direction. King can go everywhere. What else can go where he wants? A hobo. Hobo can go where he wants. So those are the 2 files that I've got working on for tonight's. And what I'm going to do, Patrick and I think Rich are going to do probably demonstrations on the laser. I've actually got the laser running now, cutting out another flat pack. Instead of me showing you the laser, I'm going to take about 5 minutes and show you real quick how to use the array tool to set up that tic-tac-toe board in 5 minutes. I'm going to go through it really quick, and probably half of you are going to go, wait, what? You just have to back up and watch it because I'm going to go through it fast.
Well, don't forget that we'll have the replay on the channel too.
Yep.
All right. So moving on. this week, like Patrick was saying, I've decided to go back to the way we formed this channel, something that's quick and easy that you can download for free and that's functional. And this is what I have always had a problem with, and I discovered a problem with this week. So I like to use wood rulers. I don't know about you guys, but one of the problems that I have with it is, number one, there's nothing on the other side. So like, for instance, if I'm using the fiber laser as an example over there, if I went to, let's say it was put in there sideways, well, what would happen is I'd have to go around the other side and put the ruler up over there in order to get the numbers. So I thought to myself, I need to redesign it. The second problem that I had with this is that these are almost all made in China, and the cuts at the beginning and the end are never perfect. This one is off by 1.5 millimeters. So what I decided to do was I decided to make my own. And these are the prototypes. So you can see that it has a all the way up to almost 300 millimeters. I'll explain why it's not at 300 millimeters, and it's double-sided. And then while I was doing that, I decided that I was going to make one in standard. That's almost 12 inches long, also double-sided. And then when I did this prototype, I thought to myself, I can't really see those numbers that well. So I redid it, and I put my logo in there. And I redid this with larger numbers. So this is what you're going to get this week. This one is also double-sided, so you can use it either way. And these files are all going to be for free. And these may look really basic and easy to do, but if you don't account for the kerf, and if you don't cut them out just right, they're not going to measure properly. But on these, I know you won't be able to see this on camera. Let me just do this. Maybe you can see this, probably not, but you can see that. Let me see if I can see the 10 is right exactly on 10. So yep. It is an exact measurement, both millimeters and inches, the perfect measurement. What I did on the for the kerf to allow for all lasers is I did the measurement with about a 0.01 kerf, and that'll work on everything. And you know, the difference that you might have, the slight difference that you might have, is not as big as you think it is, but it won't get exponentially worse. You can get all the way out to 280 millimeters, whatever the case may be, and it is still going to be spot on. So I've eliminated the problem with these made in China ones by doing a made in the USA one that is easier to read, about the same size, you know, in about the same size in bulk, and more accurate. So that's what I've been doing this week, and I've been doing a lot of other things too. I'm trying to get into a new building. I'm waiting on some building inspections to come back so I can move out of here and expand, and be a lot easier to make videos with, you know, different rooms set up for different things, and you know, fishing this morning and some other things. So that's what I've been up to this week. I will have, and I guarantee you that I'll have, by the end of this stream on lasermakersrealm.com, we will have these files ready for download. In fact, it's already ready for download. All I have to do is go to the next room and hit publish. And Lewis just became a member of the channel. Or I'm sorry, Lewis just donated $10 with a super sticker. Thank you, Lewis. And I also wanted to say hi to everybody that's out there tonight. I'm also going to be running a demo and showing you some tips and tricks in doing this. Oh, let me just, one other thing real quick. On these, some of these, let me see where they are. Some of these that I've done, because I'm going to do a whole bunch of these. I have a whole lot of scrap. I have like a 3-foot tall pile of scrap wood. So I'm going to do a whole bunch of these different rulers, and I've already got people that said I want one. But you notice I didn't do both sides. I only did one side. So the reason for that is very simple. I saved the piece that I cut those out of. And if you're using, and this is it right here, so I can take and put 2 at a time into this piece. The reason why it's only 2 at a time is, like I said, it's all scrap wood, like you see here. So I've got a whole pile of this that I'm going to use up functionally. And I can always take this, because I'm using the Lasermatic behind me, I just take this template, and I know it goes this way right here, and I just slide this up into the top left corner, and then I can run the other sides at a later time. So I'm knocking these out pretty fast. I have a couple of tips and tricks that I'll share with you. When I actually do one, I'm going to actually switch over to the laser. I've got one set in there right now. All I have to do is turn the laser on and run the job. And I also have, let me see if I can bring the picture up just to show you the, let's see, where is it? Here it is. This is the picture of my screen. That is the template. I'm not going to be sharing the template. I'm going to be sharing the SVG files and the LightBurn art library of these 2 files. And the reason for that is because all different lasers have different origins. So if you're using a CO2 with the top right origin, then this is not going to load properly. So that's why I've done it this way. I'm not doing the LightBurn template. When I sell files in my online store, I usually do 3 templates, one with each different origin. But you've got to be careful when you load a template and make sure that it was created on the same laser that you're using. So if you're using a Lasermatic, it's bottom left. If you're using an X tool, it's top left. If you're using a CO2, it's top right or top left, one or the other. So you never really know where those origins are. If you happen to get a LightBurn file that comes out backwards and upside down, well, then all you have to do is press Control A on your keyboard to select everything that's on there. And up at the top of the screen, hit the mirror button, either mirror left and right or mirror up and down or both. You might need to do both, but you can fix them. It's just not easy for the average user that doesn't know what to do when they load it and everything's upside down and backwards. So that is the reason why I'm doing just the SVG files. If you use the SVG files, they are ungrouped. So just keep that in mind. And if you use the LightBurn art library, that one is ready to use. All you have to do is set your speeds and your powers. So that's about it for me. I haven't done a whole lot this week. I've been dealing with a lot of other things that are going on, trying to get this building worked out and doing other things around the house and so forth. But I've already got a bunch of orders, of course, for free from my kids, my grandkids, that want these rulers. So I'm going to be batching out a whole bunch of these. I can't ship them, so I won't be doing a giveaway because there is just no way that this thing, if I put this in a padded envelope, I can promise you that the mailman will fold it the wrong way to put it in your mailbox and they'll break it. So, and these really should be made out of oak wood, but I'm making them out of plywood. Just be careful. If you break it, I'll make you another one. That's what I tell my grandkids. So thank you, Chad, for that $5 donation. We really appreciate that.
I did not. The envelope went out Monday or Tuesday. I think it was Monday.
So SFW is asking building tour. Well, I can't give a tour of the building until I actually own it. But it's nothing big. It's an old 70s brick, cement block and brick building with a metal roof, 2,000 square feet or whatever it is, 1972, something like that, with 5 different rooms inside. and I'm waiting on inspections to get insurance. Here in Louisiana, it's almost impossible to get insurance. That's what I'm waiting on right now. The inspections took place on Wednesday, and I still haven't gotten an answer yet as to whether they've whether the insurance company is going to sell me insurance. So that's what I'm waiting on. But
before we jump into any comments, I just want to give a thank you to Chuck Wheeler, who sent us a donation before the show today. So he did that
thank you, Chuck.
By other means. He sent us a Zelle donation. Yep. And he sends one before every live stream, and we greatly appreciate it, Chuck. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chuck. Appreciate that. And for those who don't want to hit the little $ down below the live video, you can always go to lasermakersrealm.com. If you click on any of the replay videos there, underneath the video, you'll see several different ways, that you can make a donation from there. Links to different places. So I think, what is it, Steve? They could do Zelle, they could do PayPal, they could do, what's the other one?
I think there was CashApp, I think.
CashApp. Yeah, that's it. Okay, so I am going to go ahead and turn this laser on behind me and run my first job. And this will give you guys, you can set your stopwatch. It'll give you guys an idea of how long it takes to do one of these. And then I'll show you some tips and tricks when it's done. Patrick, if you want, you can go to comments.
All right. Do we have any questions? Guys, have any questions? Be sure to post them with question marks in front of the question. So it'll jump out at us and we'll be able to address those promptly.
Oh, there was one thing that I'd like to share while I'm getting started here. So let me show you real quick. Share my screen. Okay, can you guys see that?
Yep.
All right, so what I'm going to do now, I've already cut this one out of that piece of wood that's there on the workbed. So what I'm going to do is just select it. I'm going to press Control and the letter D to duplicate it. And I'm just going to move it down with my mouse keys like that. That's all I'm going to do. I'm going to delete this one right here. And now I'm ready to burn this project because this was still in the spot from the last one that I cut out. And when I get done, I'll show you guys what the results are of that.
Scott, thank you for the donation. We appreciate that. Rich, Brian asked if your building came with a mirror ball.
If what?
If your building came with a mirror ball.
Oh yeah, do some dancing in there. 70s dancing. Steve, do you want to share? Okay, you want to go through a couple of comments real quick?
Yeah, I was waiting. In fact, you was doing your demo, and then Patrick was going to do a demo. In fact, you guys in the comments, just let us know if you even want to see how I do the array tool. If there's not enough interest, we won't even mess with it.
I think everybody would be interested in seeing that.
Yeah, I think it would benefit. Let's do this comment and then go. Then you can jump into your array tool. Can a coffee cup with a handle be done on the Lasermatic 10?
With a handle? Well, it can be if the graphic is small enough, but you need a chuck rotary to do that. So on the new Lasermatic 10 MK2, if you don't already own one right now, if you were to order one right now, yes, you can, because the bottom of it is removable and it comes with a chuck rotary.
Yep. Yeah, just the roller rotaries. It's difficult to do a cup with a handle.
I just want to pop up Jim's comment here because he's been waiting to ask about this. So he's saying that he has 2 LaserMaster 3s by Autour in the same room, and he wants to know why one unit engraves at 6,100 and the second one needs to engrave at 4,100, and it is the same exact machine. But there are a couple of reasons for that, and one of them could be the age of the diode. Number one, one of them is going to be newer than the other, so the diodes do degrade over time, and the other reason could be that the assembly of the diode. So you're not going to get Autour. I'm pretty sure Laser, if I'm not mistaken, is the manufacturer of their diodes, and more than likely it's going to be one of them is degrading, and the other one is newer. It could also be your lens is dirty, or your lens may have a little tiny scratch on it, or just a little tiny defect that you can't see with the naked eye. And that one little tiny defect could cause it to lose a bunch of power.
Let's see. You ready, Steve?
Actually, I got to get another piece loaded up. If you got any more questions or comments?
Yep.
I'm cutting out 3 boards to do for giveaways.
Chad asks, what is your guys' best-selling Christmas items?
Usually ornaments.
Yeah, ornaments are always a great go-to.
Now, one thing I wanted to mention while we have silence here is I am running 2 cut passes on this instead of 1, and that's only to keep down the charring. Thank you, Tony. Tony just donated $20 to the channel. Thank you so much for that donation. We really appreciate that.
And Rich,
Yeah.
I buy a lot of this Baltic birch. I go through probably, I looked at my purchase history. It was 10 cases of 45 in the last year.
Yeah.
And I got my first case in this last week. They ain't a straight piece in this box. 45 pieces, and they all crooked as a dog's hind leg.
Yeah, that happens.
Guess what I needed? Your hold downs have saved this box. So those 3D printed hold downs that Rich has available, if you've got any more wood, they can make it happen.
Definitely. Okay, I was asked, what fiber laser do you have? I'm planning on learning one of great pistol slides. What power would you suggest? I have a 50 watt, a 60 watt, and an 80 watt. And soon I will be doing a video on upgrading your laser source. I'm going to upgrade the 50 watt to a 120 watt. But for just general engraving of pistol slides, a 60 watt is more than sufficient. You will not have any issue. You can do it with a 50 watt, but I wouldn't go any lower than 50 watts.
And Patrick and I...
reason being is because with an 8-inch or 200 millimeter lens, you're going to be able to fit pretty much a whole slide under there. And if you want to go larger and you want to use your 300 millimeter lens to do engraving, you're going to want that little extra power that a 50 or 60 watt would provide. So,
and both Patrick and I
just
got these in the shop. Patrick and I just got the 60 watt MOPAs. Okay, so I've got this finished. Let me talk about I told you I was going to give you a couple of tips and share with you how I did this. So let me get this one off. Now, if you notice over here, I've got a magnet holding this down in place so it doesn't move. This is the standard ruler. So I had the right edge of the ruler cut off. All I'm going to do is gently lift it out of that frame, and there is the final version of it right there. And you can see that one end, see the white wasn't completely cut out. but I'm leaving that in there. And all I have to do at this point, and one thing is important, don't ever touch any of this with your finger, because you're going to smear the soot on there. You always have to take your little paintbrush and brush it off before you touch it. But what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to put this back in to the same slot that I just cut it out of. It's hard to do with this camera in the way. Just like that. Without moving that piece that's in there. And I'm just going to start the job over again, but this time I'm going to go to my cuts and layers and turn off the cut layer. Okay.
All right, Steve, I think you're up.
All right. Well, I'm ready. Let's see if I can figure out how to do all this sharing correctly. All right. Present arms, share screen, entire screen, and this one, share, and LightBurn. Okay. So the only reason I think this is really handy to do is because if you're not familiar with using the grid array, the array grid, this is a really easy project to do and get some practice doing it. So the first thing I think about when I'm doing this, I want to maximize my wood. I want the biggest possible playboard. I'm using 300 by 300 material. So I'm going to draw out a square, and I'm going to tell it to go to 300 by 300 millimeters with my aspect ratio locked. And I'm going to put that on toolpath. And that's in the way. There we go. Toolpath. And show toolpath. I've got all this turned off while I'm engraving. Show. There. All right. So there's a 300 by 300 toolpath. Now I'm going to go to my offset, and I'm going to offset it 10 millimeters once. And I'm going to select the resulting objects, and I'm going to do it again. And now I am going to take that middle one, put it on a cut path, and that's going to be my board that I cut out. And now I need to put in the 9 squares for my tic-tac-toe. And I want it to have a 10 millimeter border around the edge and the vertical and horizontal lines. So this inner toolpath I just created is where my 9 squares need to go. And if I look up here, I have a 260 square, 260 millimeter square to do that in. So I'm going to draw out a single square. Don't matter what size it is, because I know it's 260 millimeters that I have to put it in. And I need 2 10 millimeter vertical spaces between them. So that's less 20. So it's 240 millimeters, and I need 3 squares. If you're not good at math, and Rich taught me this a long time ago, this is a big thing that a lot of you may not know. Go up there to your width, and we know I got 240 millimeters to work with. Just do your math, your calculations right here. 240 divided by 3. There's an 80 millimeter square. That's going to be the perfect size. So with that,
240/3 for those don't know what the divided by symbol is. Sorry, go ahead.
So with that in position, now I'm going to align it to the left and to the top. And now that square is exactly where I need to be. Now I need to do a total of 9 of those. So now we're going to use the array tool. Select that, come over and get your array tool. Now, if you have used your array, or then when you open your array tool, whatever settings you used last are what's going to be already saved in there from your last use. If you've never used the array tool, I have no idea what the default was. But what we're going to do is we're going to go to our X spacing and put a 0 in there. We're going to put a 0 in our X and Y spacings, just so we know that we're all starting from the same place. I've got 1 square here, and if you look up here in your measurements, the height and width is grayed out, but it tells you if you forget, oh yeah, that's an 80 millimeter square. But also right here, this is the one we've got selected. It shows you your measurements right here in your array tool as well. That's 80 millimeters. And you're going to need to know that in a few minutes. But we want to do how many columns we need to do, total of 3 columns. So you tell it 3 columns. And then right here, I just told it 3 columns, but you don't see 3 columns because I've got selected distance from center to center instead of padding between the edges. And put that back to 0. There we go. Because when I changed that, it changed that. All right, so we got 3 columns with 0 X and Y spacings with padding between the edges. Now we need to do 3 rows. That just gave me 9 squares, but I don't have my spacing set up like I need to. And we wanted 10 millimeters between those. So you just come back to your X and Y spacing and say 10 millimeters and tab over 10 millimeters. And now that just put all the squares exactly where they need to go. Now, if you notice right here, I've got my reverse direction turned on the verticals. If yours are going in the wrong direction, that's what that's for. Reverse direction. You can switch them and change which direction your array is going in. All right. Now that I've got that set up. Oh, I just undid that. Can I go back? Nope. Let's do it real quick. 3, not 31, stupid. 3. There we go. Done. And say, okay. Now that's set up and it's ready to cut out. But if you're doing your tic-tac-toe board, you need X's and O's, right? Well, all of these squares right here are waste. So you don't want to waste that. You're going to use that to create some of your pieces. You need a total of 10 pieces, 5 X's and 5 O's, and we only got 9. So you're going to need this piece of scrap to do your 10th one. But go into your text tool, select you an X, select it, put it in that first square and center it up. And I'm going to make it bigger until it fills up that square a little bit. And looks like I want to do 60 millimeters just for looks. Now we're going to use the array tool again, but we're going to use the other part of the array tool. We're going to do distance from center to center instead of padding between edges. Now, remember, our square was 80 millimeters, and we have a 10 millimeter gap here between them now. So from center to center is 90 millimeters. So if I come in here and I tell it I won't, in fact, that's defaulted because that's what I did once before. That's how that's figured out. I'm going to do 3 rows of that and 3 columns down, 3 rows down. So there you just created, and those are in the perfect position because that measurement right there, the X spacing was the width of the square plus the distance between them, 90 millimeters. And now those are in perfect position. But I don't need all those X's. Golly, I keep doing that. 3 and 3, done, and okay. And I'm trying to, and now just select that, go to your text tool, backspace that out, and make it an O. Backspace it out, make it an O, not that. Make it an O. Make it an O. Backspace, make it an O. Backspace, make it an O. And now you'll need to do one more of those on another piece of scrap material. And that quick, you've got the beginnings of your tic-tac-toe board. Then what I'm doing and what I'll have be shipping out is I'm going to select that toolpath again of the 300 by 300 and the 290 first cut. And I'm going to hit Control D, duplicate it, move it over here. Come on, cooperate. And I've got a duplication, so I'm going to grab all of them now. But you know what? Undo. Undo button is your best friend on LightBurn, guys.
And redo. And
undo. There we go. Those are singles now. Now I can hit Control D and go ahead and group them. And now that they're grouped, move that group over to the side. And now I can cut that out, and it's ready for to glue that grid to this, and you've got a backboard. And if you want to make it more kid friendly, they ain't poking their eye out because your kid's not the brightest one in the classroom, then select that, ungroup it, and you can actually come down here to your radius tool, and we're going to use 10 millimeters again, and just click right there, and click on each node. And you'd have to do that on the top piece as well so that they all match. Click, there you go.
And Steve's going at 100 miles an hour, but that's because we know how to do this. But all you have to do is rewatch the video later, and you can watch this whole tutorial again and pause it as you go so that you can follow along better.
Yeah, and I don't want to bore everybody to death and already knows all this. And plus, we're trying to keep this to a very minimum time. So, yeah, and plus, you know, if once you get familiar with this is how fast you can do that. You don't need to download our free files. You can make your own. But this is a great exercise to get familiar with the array tool.
And I want to say thank you to Mike Meredith. He donated $9.99 to the channel. Thank you so much, Mike. Much appreciated. So like I was saying, you can rewatch this if you need to slow it down a bit. You know, Steve was going at hyper speed because he's used to doing it. You know, we're all used to doing it. And we can do these things in a couple of minutes. But if you're just learning it, just come back and rewatch the video. And you can watch one of Steve's videos as well. He does a whole explainer video on how to do this on his channel. So, you know, there's a couple ways that you can rewatch it. So real quickly, I wanted to jump over. If you guys were running your timer,
did we pop up
see
this,
that?
Did we pop up this sticker? I don't think so.
Oh, I didn't see that. Thank you, Tony.
Yep. Thank you,
Much
Tony.
appreciated. $20. Thank you so much. Much appreciated. So let me get to the tips and tricks that I was telling you earlier about this particular piece of engraving here, project, whatever you want to call it. Let me go back to my other camera because it would be easier to show you over here than it will be over there. If you were running your timer, it ran out while Steve was explaining. But here is the final project that you saw me do live right here, double-sided. And the thing is, I can't use my standoffs on this project because I'm reusing that template. See the little brown spots, the flash burns? Well, I can't use my standoffs for this project. So what I do is I take a regular bottle of water that you see right here. This is just plain water. And I just spray this really, really hard with this water over my garbage pail. I'm going to do that right now.
And Chris Gallagher, he pointed out something that was really informative. He said he was taught that X always goes first in tic-tac-toe, so you only need 9 pieces. So that'll save you the waste, guys.
Okay, so now that I've done this, now it's wet. And as long as you dry it quickly, and first thing you want to do is pat dry it. So you don't want to smear anything. So just pat dry it. And you're going to get all of the debris, all of the dust, and all of the soot is going to come off. And it will be clean as a whistle when you do that. Let me show you the other side. All I've done is spray it with water. So now that I've patted it down, now I can come back and hold it along the edge like this and slide it up like that. Get another spot, slide it down like that. Do it with a third spot on this side, a fourth clean spot over here, and then that one there. And if this had another side, one over there. And now you've got a nice clean product. So that is a trick that a lot of people don't know. They think that they're going to get their sandpaper out. And that's the worst thing that you can do with an engraving, because if you're using this kind of plywood, you're going to get pink spot. It's going to sand off the finish. It's a very, very small veneer. I don't know if you can see that or not. Very small veneer.
Yeah, very thin.
On these plywoods. Now you can go back with a clean part of your rag and you can wipe off anything that might be left over. You do want to get it completely dry so it doesn't warp on you. And whatever is left over there, you can wipe off. There's a couple little spots that are left here. And it does wipe off. Flash burns are not something that stays. So they do wipe off. So there you can see all the flash burns are gone. See that? Or just about gone. If I wipe it a little bit more, there's one there, and one there, you know, but that's just a trick, a little trick to keep you from ruining your project after you've cut it out. So there's your tricks. Leaving, if you need to do something double-sided, just put a magnet on the wood so it doesn't move. Make sure that you're doing it in exactly the same spot. It doesn't have to be like this Lasermatic where, where it's on up in the top left corner. You could do this with any laser. It doesn't matter what laser it is, as long as you're using the exact same spot and you flip your piece over. And that's what Steve was talking about. I think who was talking about? Somebody was talking about doing
the checkers.
The checkers, that's right.
Checkers,
yeah.
Yep.
So when you do those checkers, you're going to have to do the same thing. You're going to have that wood in exactly the same spot.
I cut out the two pieces for the glasses stand, but this piece that was cut out is perfect to put your ruler right beside it. So you can cut out a glasses stand and a couple rulers at the same time. Because here's what you're left with. And then the other piece that mates with, here's how they mate. They just slide together. And then, and there you go. There's your glasses stand.
And you have two different stands in your project file, don't you?
Yeah, there's two. The one that has the 4x4 mirror is included in that file.
I know, but one of them has a 10 millimeter slot. The other one has a 5 millimeter slot.
Oh, yeah. So what you'll notice, this slot is 3 millimeters, and this slot is 3 millimeters. Now on the piece that has the mirror inlaid, you'll see that I made this out of 5 millimeter plywood. So the slot that's cut out of this centerpiece is actually 10 millimeters to accommodate the double layer.
Yeah, it took me like 10 minutes to understand that file.
Yeah, so if you need to adjust the thickness, you just want to have, and you're using this double layer one, this one's going to need to be cut so that it'll slide over two pieces of your plywood. So just double the width of it.
Just want to interrupt for 1 second. I want to say thank you to Chicago Bob for that $20 donation, as well as Richard. Thank you, Richard, for that donation. We appreciate all donations that come into the channel, and those donations help Patrick and Steve pay for all of the supplies. So we really appreciate that. Thank you so much.
See, if we want to go back through the questions, here's
now we're going to move to we're at 50 minutes now, so we've got plenty of time tonight. All of these files, Steve's file, Patrick's file, my ruler files, they're all going to be available. In fact, in a moment, I'm going to go into the other office and make that post live on thelasermakersrealm.com, and below that post you'll see a link to download a zip file that'll have all of these files in it. So now I think we should move on to, I'm going to go in the other room and make that live, and we can move on to the Q&A. What do you guys think?
Sounds good.
all right. Here was the first one, I think, from where I left off earlier. How the Atom Stack X7 Pro still having issues cutting out product. That question needs to be a little more specific, I think, for us to be able to troubleshoot. What material you're trying to cut out, or you're cutting it in focus, what speed and power settings are you using. So if you could follow up with that type of information, we might be able to help you out a little better. Let's see. Kate's in the house. She asked, can you do coins on your fiber laser? Absolutely. Sure can. Jim was asking about, should I get another laser module or maybe save money and put it to a totally new unit? I think that's regarding his Laser Master 2s.
Option 2.
Yep, I would.
I heard a question while I was walking in the other room, Patrick, about cutting ability. And what I talked about earlier, I just wanted to show you while I was there. I grabbed a lens, and if this will come out, if you'll be able to see this, can you see that little dot?
Right
Yep.
there. Yep, right there. Yep.
That little dot. This is from a friend of mine's X tool, and that little dot will cut your power. That little tiny dot will cut your power by about 60 or 70%.
I know
And
all
that
about
little dot happens from not cleaning your lens. So if you don't, yeah, Steve knows all about what I'm talking about.
Yeah, and mine wasn't from a lack of cleaning.
Yeah, but yeah, well, that's another issue. But you will get, if you have a dirty lens, you're gonna get a loss in power. I just wanted to throw that in there. And while I was in the other room, I just changed this out for a friend because I had a bunch of these laying around. What are you
And
showing
then
there?
the dirt will react with the laser, and then it'll end up burning the spot in the lens
Yes.
like you have there, and
Exactly.
then it's trash.
Yeah, if the laser can't go through a clean lens, then it'll heat up that dirt and it'll cause that circular halo in there. Once you have that halo, you can forget it. You got to replace the lens.
Stuart is asking what you mask leather with. I generally do not mask leather.
I do. I use this. This is just regular laser masking tape.
Yep.
So-
I think if I were going to mask it, that's what I would use.
Yeah, this is what I use, laser masking tape. And if you do use this stuff, make sure you fold over the edge like I have here when you're done, because it's almost impossible to get a clean edge again once you've cut it off and it sticks back to itself. So fold an inch or so of the edge over so that you have a tab to pull it from.
See, here's a question regarding plywood. We bought 3mm plywood, have big issues with black charring. And sod tried to change settings and cleaning, but no luck.
Well,
Any
charring just
advice
means that
or
you're running too
I
slow.
knew.
Charring means that you're running too slow. It could also mean that your laser is out of focus. There's several things, but typically you're going to get charring if you're running too slow. So all you have to do is, double your speed, double your passes. If that doesn't work, triple your speed, triple your passes.
And I read that question differently. I read it, interpreted it, it's like he did it with one particular material and he had no problems. He's got perfect results on his old, but he bought new 3mm plywood and he's having big issues.
Could be the glue.
That should tell you if it works with one material, great, but not the other. Problem's the material, right?
Yeah, could be the glue.
Yep.
Yeah, I did my very first. I did my first. Where is it? I burnt my first grass tonight. I've never messed with bamboo, but I did. It's in the paint room. I did my first bamboo, and talking about messy. Oh my God.
Yeah.
My Lasermatic has never been as messy as it is tonight because I did one bamboo cutting board.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you're going to burn grass, you shouldn't do it in a laser. You should be burning grass somewhere else.
Bamboo also has to be done low and slow.
Yeah, it does, and that made a mess.
Are you using borax on the wood?
No, not me.
No,
Never.
no.
Nope. You do your material test, find out what color you want from the material test, and do it that way. You want to try and keep as little chemicals out of the machine as possible. And I know borax is very popular, but it also creates fumes that can ruin your lens, like we just talked about. So any chemical that you're going to emit, PVC, even leather, stuff like that is going to wreak havoc on your lens. So if you do that, make sure you clean your lens every day. This laser, all of my lasers don't go one day without being cleaned. At the end of the day, the last thing I do is clean the lens on whatever laser I use that day. Sometimes you have to stop in the middle of the day and clean your lens.
See, Scott asked, why is millimeter used?
It's an
Because
easier number to do the math. It's easier
simple.
to do math with.
Much simpler math. Yep.
Yeah. Something that's 300 millimeters, the exact center is, 150. Exactly 12 inches. Yeah, the exact center is 6 inches, but usually any wood that you get from Amazon is coming from overseas, and it's going to be 300 millimeters, not 12 inches. Close to 12 inches, but not exactly.
Yeah, everything
Yep.
I bought's always 300 by 300.
Yeah.
And typically dividing fractions, which seems to be how most
I can only do that in LightBurn.
measurements are written. Those are that's hard to do in your head.
Yeah, well, you got to do 1/4. You got to do 0.25/2 to get that's the way I would have to do it, because I can't do that.
What's
in my head.
half of 1 7/8?
Half
math,
of 1 7/8? I don't know.
Yeah.
Ask me in millimeters, and I'll be able to tell you.
Exactly. That's exactly right. Let's see. Chicago Bob asked a question. Can you use the fiber laser to clean old coins without damaging the coin? Yes. Proper settings, you could absolutely do that.
I just watched a video on that today on YouTube. Interesting question. It's funny that question came out. I just watched a video on that today.
But doesn't that devalue the coin?
No, it restores it. If you have the right settings, if you know what you're doing, then it has to be done. The video I watched, they did in 2 different passes. One pass was the outside, the lowest part of the coin, and the second pass was the head and the numbers and stuff like that. So I'm not quite sure how they processed that, but they did it in 2 passes, and it came out like brand new.
With the right settings and running higher speed, high frequency, you can basically just do a laser polish type finish on it.
Yeah.
Let's see. Richard asked, lens cleaning procedure.
That's, a lot of people have different opinions on that. I'll tell you mine. The other guys can tell you theirs. There are only 2 things that you can use to clean a lens, and that's either 99% IPA, isopropyl alcohol. It's got to be 99%, or Purity lens cleaner, one or the other.
There you go.
And that's what Steve is showing right there, Purity. So and believe me, you can't use Carl Zeiss lens cleaner either. I mean, I understand that people are using it on $5,000 camera lenses, but what they don't understand is that the Carl Zeiss lens cleaner has 94% IPA in it. So if you want to be safe, get 99% IPA, which is a lot more expensive. It's like $10 for a bottle as compared to $2 for a bottle of 94. But the thing is that you can't have any abrasives. Don't use Q-tips. Don't use paper. Don't use lens cleaning paper. Use a microfiber cloth, 99% IPA or Purity lens cleaner, and spray it onto your cloth. Bunch it up for a diode laser now. Stick it into the hole. Press down on it and turn the module back and forth. Don't turn the cloth. Push it in the hole. Turn your module back and forth. And if you're on a CO2, well, you're going to take that lens out and, do it between the microfiber cloth. That's how I do it. Patrick, how do you do it?
That's the procedure I typically follow for the diode and for the CO2. Take the lens out.
Yeah.
And CO2 lens, I'll typically wipe in one direction and wipe across. That way it's
always
wiping.
Yeah, and don't on the CO2 lens, you're going to have the lens itself in your hand like this one here. So don't take and rub it, like that in a circle. So put the microfiber cloth in your hand, only handle it by the edges, wrap it around with the microfiber cloth, and all I do is I move up and down. When you move one finger up, the other one goes down. And that's all I do. And then I grab it by the edge, inspect it, hold it up to the light, see if there's any residue left on it, maybe do it again. On the CO2, for some reason, it seems like I have to do it 2 or 3 times before I get it clean. And, even the diode, I wind up doing it a couple of times.
Here's an interesting question. Wallpaper is not laser safe, question mark.
It is laser safe. I mean, unless you're, depending on the wallpaper, if it's, self-adhesive and it has glue.
Yeah.
Look, nothing is laser safe. That's just a fact. If you could smell it, it's bad for you. That's just the way it is.
And then also, do I remember correctly that even some of the wallpaper has some PVC or plastic to it?
Some of it might have. Some of it might have PVC in it, and if it does, it'll emit chlorine gas.
Yeah,
you probably have to check the material safety data sheet for.
Absolutely, for anything that you use, really.
Yeah, especially for the wallpaper that you're using, just to make sure it's free of any PVC.
Oh, as a side note, I did take the fan out of my Lasermatic, as you can see right here, and it looks like the fan is still in there because the grate is still on there, but it's not. This is the fan that it came with, and I have that good air extraction. A good enclosure is important. I took this fan out because I have a much more powerful fan that exhausts to the outside. And the more powerful fan is only going to pull air with this obstruction pretty much the same as this would do on its own. So I take this out so that there's no obstruction, nothing in the way, and it pulls the most amount of CFMs to exhaust to the outside. So I always suggest to everybody, no matter what laser that you're using, whether it's a CO2, whether it's the Lasermatic, the ones that come with the built-in fans, take them out, throw them away, use them for something else. Hook it up to a battery and let it blow on you. Do like Patrick does. Use it to blow across the workspace so that you don't get any residue buildup. Do something else with it other than exhaust the fumes from your laser. And all China CO2 lasers, you can take them out and pretty much throw them away because they're all garbage. This happens to be a good fan. But it's still not enough to exhaust the way I want, where there's no fumes in the shop. So that's why I've taken this out, and I use that fan over in the corner to do my exhaust. Good exhaust is very important.
I always forget to turn on my air assist. Any suggestions?
Turn it on when you turn the laser on.
You can.
I forget it all the time too.
You can buy an M8 switch on Amazon and hook that up to your power. So you can use the same power that goes to the laser module, tap off of that to an M8 switch, and it'll automatically turn it on and off.
I've done it so many times that I've now forced myself to be in the habit of turning that on before turning the laser on.
Well, now the new Lasermatics, now you won't have to worry about that. If you buy a Lasermatic now into the future, it's automatic. It turns on and off with the laser module.
Very, very handy.
And a side note, I stepped on a box and turned a bunch of stuff over, and it reminded me, on the tic-tac-toe board, if you guys want to create the grid just for practice with the grid array, how many, by show of hands, have got odd pieces laying around, cutouts, waste material that are perfect shapes, such as this little ghost? There's nothing wrong with this guy, but that's waste material.
You mean like this?
Yeah, exactly. The stars you've got, whatever. I've got a bat here. It's waste material. You do not need to create X's and O's. Get you two opposing things, paint one white, one black, and now you've got your X's and O's. And this is with the project or the file you download tonight from LasermakersRealm. It's got the X's and O's, but then it's got the turkeys with an O and the turkeys with an X, and that'd be Thanksgiving, and Christmas ornaments, X's and O's, and then the bats. And I took a tip from, or a trick that Patrick used a few weeks ago whenever I did my checkerboard in the checkers. Man, I've used it, but not used it nearly as much after watching Patrick. Offset feel, good God, is that a time saver? My checkers,
be careful with the new version of LightBurn, though, because it doesn't always work. They need to fix that. But I even saved my paper, Steve. Look.
Oh yeah.
My paper cutouts.
the checkers in the file. Zoom in on me there, real tight.
All right.
So I put the little ridges around the checkers so it looks like the checker, And this is the white checker, or white or red, and you flip it, and there's the Hobo. That's the crown. But the black checkers, instead of painting them, I used the offset fill and created just a contrast, so you've got an obvious difference between the two. And then
at a very low LPI.
Yeah, and so I did the same thing with the board. When I first set the checkerboard up to do the engraving, you see those are done with offsets. You see the lines.
Yep.
If you did that on a standard fill, it was going to take over 2 hours or longer to do that one board. But with the offset fill, it did it in like 15 or 20 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So when you download the file, it should be an offset fill. If you're not familiar with it, that's something you want to get familiar with, and the offset fill is going to be your friend.
I noticed that when you first showed it at the beginning.
Just a quick note: if you have the FTI driver installed on your version of LightBurn, you're going to have a problem with offset fill. I don't know if you do, Patrick, but I know I do, and I know a ton of other people on LightBurn's forum are having problems with offset fill. So if you've got a fiber laser and you've got that what is it called, FDTI or whatever driver installed, that you might have a problem with it. I know
Is that 1403 that's out?
Yeah. Hang on.
02.
I think 1403 is the one that I'm using. Okay. And it did the same thing in 02. So that's why I really wouldn't have upgraded this version of LightBurn on this computer here in this shop. But I upgraded it because I was having that problem. And what happens is it turns it into a flood fill. So it turns the entire thing into a flood fill.
Yeah, I'm lucky. I've not had any problems.
You don't have the FDTI or whatever that is driver. You don't have a fiber laser. So.
Okay, so it's only fiber lasers.
Yeah, if you have a fiber laser, if you have the fiber version of LightBurn, let's put it that way, until they get that issue fixed. They said they fixed it in 0.03, but I'm still having the same problem. So I can show it to you real quickly if you want to see it. Let's see. So go to...
the next question was, where do you get the laser masking tape from?
I get that on Amazon.
Yep, that's where I've got mine.
So this always gives me a problem, not sharing. Isn't that something? There we go. Nope, that's not it either. I know what I have to do. I know what I have to do.
Yeah, they should have essentially last a lifetime as long as you keep them clean and well maintained.
Can you see my screen
in general?
Guys?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm just going to draw out this circle, put it on any layer, and this is probably going to make a liar out of me, but I'm going to put it into, I'm going to undo that. I'm going to select it. I'm going to offset it, let's say by 1, or let's say by 3. And I'm just going to group these together. And now I'm going to grab something from over here. It doesn't really matter what it is. I'm going to grab this, shrink it down, put it in the middle. I thought I was going to put it in the middle. Put it in the middle like that. And now I'm going to put this layer on offset fill. Okay, so that is the preview of what it's supposed to look like, right? But if I come, well, no, it's not going to, I told you it was going to make a liar. You know what? It could be my layer. It could be a layer issue. Let me, I told you that would make a liar out of me. Let me put this into fill and preview that. No, it's making a liar out of me. It just did it to me today, so it's got to be a layer issue. It could be one of the layers is, well, I'm just going to stop that right now. But I can tell you that I had this problem on my other computer, and I had this problem on this computer just today. And it could be a problem like what Steve had when, remember, Steve, you had a problem with one of your layers?
Yeah, that was, and we blamed that on being a laptop, though.
Yeah.
Kate asked, can you cut foam board with the laser?
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I do all of my prototyping with foam board.
I don't remember if we popped that one up yet, but thank you,
Thank you,
for
Kate.
the super sticker. And then Andy H has sent $20. Thank you.
Thank you, Andy. Much appreciated.
He's a long time viewer and a long time contributor. Thank you, Andy.
So is Kate. Kate's here every week.
Oh yeah. Kate's in my feed all everywhere.
Yeah. All right. So we passed a comment from Jim earlier that still stuck in my mind after we talked about that comment. And Jim, there's really not going to be any solution to that problem with two machines side by side. You know, there's going to be some variation from machine to machine, unless you have like a really high quality parts in there. And the LaserMaster 3 does not. So, you know, you're going to have variation. I would go to ortour.tech/support and submit a ticket and get them to send you a new module. That's the only thing I can think of. Sometimes even unplugging the wires and plugging them back in can help. Or you can do like I do. I have contact cleaner that I got from the auto parts store. You could take the wires off, spray them, and then plug them back in, and that might help. There's a couple dozen reasons why it could happen, and we're not going to be able to answer that question here.
And then Jack had a question about your Tour 10 watt, trying to cut a license plate like yours.
Mm-hmm. Then you need to do a kerf offset on it.
But he said he did use, and he used a kerf, but he used the kerf that you used.
Oh, he used a different laser, so
right.
You have to do a kerf test first.
Yeah. You have to know your own personal kerf.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Nobody can use the settings that I use on their laser. I mean, unless you have the exact same laser, and even then it's going to be close.
You know, if Rolly has spare replacement lenses, actually they do. They do. Had those up for sale this week, sold out, so they're getting more in stock. So just keep an eye on their website. 2
for $19 delivered. They have spare lenses. They sold out because people wanted to have spares.
Yeah, not that everybody was needing spares. Do you use gloves when cleaning lenses?
You can use use the white glove method. I don't, because I only handle the lens by the edges. This one I don't care, because this one's ruined. But if you just handle it by the edges, you'll never have a problem with it. If you're using a CO2, I would suggest that you use cotton gloves, because that way you could, when you take the nozzle off, you take the collar out and you dump it right into your hand instead of the microfiber cloth, but you don't have to use gloves.
All right. Next comment. Your computers look so far from your lasers. How do you control your laser? For me, I use USB extensions, USB 2.0 extensions for the fibers. The 3 will work on the diode lasers.
Yeah, I do the same thing. I use a USB extension.
Yeah.
But you got to remember that you have to keep that extension under, I think it's 25 feet. So if you go further than 25 feet, then you have to have an active USB cable in order to communicate with the laser, or else it'll stop in the middle of the job, do all kinds of weird stuff.
Yep. Anything over 10 feet, I'd use an active cable.
Yeah.
Can we get more info on that M8 switch, and where do you connect it on the LaserMatic 10?
Well, the M8 switch you can buy on Amazon, and I forget exactly what it's called, but I looked it up like a year ago when I got my NAJ, and they had an aftermarket M8 switch that you had to actually wire yourself. So I did look it up. You can buy them on Amazon. It's just a low power low voltage power on off switch. The power comes into one side and to a terminal on one side, connects to a terminal on the other side, and you can hook that up to your positive wire on the control board. So you'll have to find your positive wire. I can't tell you how to do it here in this live stream, but all you have to do is find your positive and your negative. You tap into those, you run you cut those, run the positive and negative extension to the little interrupter switch, connect it to the right side poles, connect another wire to the left side poles, and run that to the laser or to the cut that you made in the wire.
All right, and Drone Ranger sent us $9.99. Thank you for that.
Sir.
And a question is attached. It's not clear as to whether or not there's a difference when using the Norton Method white tile, as if glazed or unglazed tiles will make a difference as to its finish durability.
The finish and durability, I think, is going to be what you finish the tile with
After the method. Yeah.
after you're done.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And that triple thick glaze is perfect for that.
Yes, it is. That's the best finish I've ever come across.
How do you connect fonts that are not all connected welded? I have the weld text option selected.
You have to do each letter individually to weld text.
And
Yeah.
and I ran into this the other day, and maybe he's having a similar problem. I had to convert my text to a path, then weld it. It wouldn't just weld the letters. When I selected the font and then tried to weld it together, it wouldn't do it. But I highlighted the entire font, converted it to a path, and then welded it up. Now, the problem with that, doing it that way, Chad, is now it's no longer a text, and you cannot edit your text.
Right.
So make sure you have no misspellings, no punctuation issues, but select the text, convert it to a path, then weld it. You can move it together and weld it together.
So I just want to pop this up, Patrick. Cliff had a suggestion here. You can get a power strip with a master and switched outlets and plug computer into master and air assist and others you want to turn on into switched.
I still forget to flip the switch. Part of the time. Let's see. To cut black acrylic, can it be placed directly on the honeycomb? Lois is asking. Yes, sure can.
All right, so 2 boards down. I got 1 more to cut, and I'll have 3 tic-tac-toe boards to give away.
Let me pop this up real quick. Just pre-ordered the Lasermatic MK2. Do you recommend removing the exhaust fan? That's the MK2 that's behind me, the 20-watt MK2. Yes, I suggest removing the exhaust fan on any factory laser.
Let's see. Ordered this. Not sure. It must be the Vivo Sun. So I think she ordered the Vivo Sun ventilation kit, and when she took the fan off LaserMaster 10, the fan did not fit. What do I need to buy?
A fan? I don't know what that is. I don't know what the Vivo is.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I have a 4-inch hose connected to my laser, and that connects to my 4-inch exhaust.
In the plumbing arena, they'll refer to them as fern codes, but they're the rubber couplers that connect with the. Oh my gosh, I'm drawing a blank.
With the hose?
Hose clamp. Yeah, the hose clamp. So you have a hose clamp on your Lasermatic fitting, and then the hose clamp on the fan. I would recommend getting a 4-inch coupler.
Well,
I know Lowe's does have them that aren't Fern co-branded that cost a little bit less, and then you can get those from Amazon too.
I can't get my other camera over to the G-Wick CO2, but the G-Wick CO2 came with an 8-inch exhaust fan that's mounted on the wall. The 8-inch hose goes down to a reduction fitting that's also available at Home Depot and Lowe's, where you can reduce or increase the size of your different hoses. But I did use the exact fitting that Patrick is talking about. It comes with like 4 hose clamps on it, 2 on each side, and you can use that as well.
I'm going to try to get a shot of mine here. be. Let me see.
Yep, there it is. Yeah, the one I have has two clamps on either side.
Yep, one on each side, and then I have that going into a blast gate. So there's a blast gate, and then into the Lasermatic. And then make sure that you put your flange back on there to attach the fitting to.
No, I don't think, Kate, anyone's done a video on changing out the fans. It's really, really simple. On this one behind me, I just unscrewed it and screwed the fitting back onto the back. It's not that hard.
And
Cliff says turning on the computer will activate your air assist. You don't use the air assist without running your computer, do you? Well, that'll keep it on all the time. I just, on my forum, just had a long discussion, it's like 3 pages long, from a guy talking about a problem with his air assist resetting the laser. And what you want to have on every air assist is one of these. So all you have to do is cut your air assist line and put this on. This came from Patrick. So this is an air control valve. You cut your line, you put one line in one side, one in the other side, and then you control the volume by turning this knob on the top. You always want to run your air assist no matter what project you're doing. Doesn't matter what it is, whether it's cutting or engraving. When you're engraving, you run it on low or maybe half. Turn this to half. And when you're cutting, you turn it up to high, especially with these little ones. You need to have it on high for cutting. But I do that on every laser that I have has that particular valve right here, even my big CO2 in the other shop, because it doesn't have the wind and blow feature like, the more expensive ones do. It's either on or off. So I always do everything with air on, and I have this in line on the hose.
And Chad had a follow-up. Chad, just want to make sure we answered your question completely. He asked again about, he said yes, well, I was right about his problem, and he wanted to know how do you move to text. Chad, just, if you didn't get the answer you need, send me an email and I can follow up with you, but hopefully you got the answer you're looking for.
Yep. All right. What CFM? I'm just going to go to this comment right here. What CFM inline fan do you recommend on a 4-inch? I don't know. I'm not a HVAC person, so I don't know for sure. But I can tell you that there is almost no difference between that big 8-inch one over there and my 4-inch one over here. So not a big difference. And that one, I believe, was 450 CFM, and this one over here is like 275.
It also depends on how far it's got to travel too.
Yeah, there's all kinds of variables involved. If you're not using metal ductwork, if you're using flexible hoses like I use, every one of those little ribs reduces the amount of CFMs that fan can pull. But I really don't. That 200, I think that one's 210, if I'm not mistaken. The one in the corner over there. AC, and that one does just fine.
AC Infinity makes a nice inline 4-inch that has an adjustable speed control and nice long cord for that speed control remote, so you can turn it on and off, and you don't have to get up, and you can have your fan like.
Speaking of that,
far away. So check into one of the AC Infinities. And we are coming up on 90 minutes already. So your last piece, how much longer does it have, Steve?
It's a few minutes, but we can we're it doesn't have to be finished to do the giveaway.
Real quick before we get to that. Before we get to the giveaway, let me show you what the G-Wick comes with. Let's see. Comes with this. So this is a remote control, and I can just turned on the 8-inch exhaust fan, and it tells me the temperature of the water that's in the laser. So and turn off. That just turned off the fan. I love this little thing. This sits on top of the laser, but you know, most people, I guess, mount it to the wall.
That's
I
very
need to
handy.
set up that drawing. I forgot all about it. So let me go do that real quick.
And guys, these in order to keep the shipping costs down, I'm not going to put a finish on these or glue them together. It'll be just 2 pieces of the 3mm Baltic birch that and the X's and O's are still attached. Where is he here? Go. I don't know how you do that. There we go. So the X's and O's are still attached to the grid, but they're only attached with 0.5 millimeter tabs. So they'll just flex and pop right out. But that'll come like that, and then the backing board will be separate too. I'll have those in one big envelope or small box that'll come to you.
We're talking about the giveaway right now. So if you want to win that,
he said no big giveaways, no lasers. That was last week.
oh no, that's
Where's the suit?
happen
Where's the suit? Where's
occasionally.
the big giveaways?
So if you want to take a shot at winning one of Steve's game boards, all you have to do is type the number 50 in the comments. Nope, not I want it. I fooled you on purpose. You have to type the number 50, not I want it.
So we've got
Number 50.
a
50.
These are probably everywhere, but we've got a place in our area. It's called Bin 5, and I think what they get is all the Amazon returns, and you go in on one day it's $7 or anything, the next day it's $6, and the next day it's $5.
Yeah.
Well, Jack in the shop's here in the same town, and he says a friend found a rotary set for $5 at the Bin 5.
Thank you, Nancy, for that $20 donation. Appreciate that. And there's what you have to type right there on the screen. 50. A lot of people are already typing it. Just type the number 50. I don't think that's going to work, Chris. You have to just type the number 50. You type anything else, it's not going to work.
Hey, Gio made a comment for me to take a picture of the Lasermatic 10 control board, and he would try to figure out which pin would control the M8 command.
I think it's marked.
So, then that's even easier.
Yeah. And it's going to be the control boards now are the old green style. They've changed the control board. They're now black. So if you took a picture of it, it wouldn't apply. Well, it would apply to the green one. If that's really something, I'll ask Leo. We're all going to have dinner with Leo in Peoria. So we'll ask him and find out what.
And, hey, I've got an idea. I don't know how he's going to feel about it, but how do you pronounce his last name?
Q.
Q.
Yeah.
And do we know another famous Q? You're not thinking about it right now, but the one inventor, Q, who came up with all these great gadgets for our number one. Who is it, Patrick?
James Bond.
Exactly. Q on James Bond. So I'm going to stop calling him Leo. He's now Q because he's come out with the best invention yet ever as far as lasers go. So he warrants the nickname Q.
All right, Daniel. Very funny.
That's hard to argue with.
All right, let's see. We have 62 entries so far. So keep typing that number 50. I'm sure that more than 62 out of 130, that's less than half of the people watching.
Still, I mean, it's not that big of a nice
Steve,
thing.
but show them again.
Well,
show them what they're typing the number 50 for.
I
think that's a nice giveaway.
It's and it'll be double-sided. The biggest thing about the tic-tac-toe thing is it is a great exercise to learn how to use that array tool.
Yeah.
So there's the front, and then of course that'll be you pop out those, and then the back is personalized Hobo, made in Redneck Central. So that right there is what makes it worth having.
And that's 2 layers for people that think that,
Yeah.
two separate layers.
Yeah. Yep. So I think that's a nice prize. We should have more than let's see how many we've got now. 66. Not only half of the people are entering. Type that number 50 right now.
I would hope that the other
Don't make me do it.
other half of them have their own lasers. They can make their own.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And and I want them to do that exercise. And here it is. Glued up. In fact.
Yeah, that's a better way to show it. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you care if I show what I did for my patrons, my gold patrons?
Go ahead.
This, and as I said earlier, guys, I try to incorporate all of my channels and all my projects. So I've got a basic checkerboard that you can get tonight for free, a basic tic-tac-toe board that you get tonight for free. But for my gold level patrons, I built this. This is a box with the lid that's got the checkerboard, and the lid lifts off and flips over, and it's the tic-tac-toe board, and inside is storage for all the pieces. So that my gold patrons got that for free this week.
Show them the pieces.
Oh, well, I did. We showed them earlier. All the different, yeah.
I must have missed that.
These are in the free file. The ornaments, the O's and the ornaments, the X's.
Well, tip the box up so we can see inside of it. There we go.
There you go.
I just don't want to dump them out everywhere. But you got turkeys, and then ghost and bats, and the checkers are in there.
And remember, you can cut out anything you want for every holiday as well.
Mm-hmm.
But now, and the one thing about tic-tac-toe is it really is an important thing for kids to learn to play, because you learn strategy, you learn, and 98% of the time, if X's go first, X's wins. But they have to figure that out and figure out, there's only a couple of moves that you almost can't be beat at.
And in another upcoming stream, in fact, I'm working on the file right now, and Steve was the one that lit the flame in my brain. I'm working on another file that looks actually store-bought. It's a game. I'm not going to tell you what it is yet. It's going to be a surprise for another live stream. The guys are going to know what it is, because I think maybe all three of us should make it. It's just that I know all three of us will want to make it, because it's that fun of a game. It's going to be a quick and easy file, and it will be in another live stream. Maybe we should do one live stream, just games.
Sounds good to me.
All right, let's see where we're at on that giveaway tool. We are at 71. So we're going to call it. I'm going to call it now. What do you guys think?
That's fine with me.
Because we're at our 90 minutes here.
Yeah, and while you're getting that ready, my video I'm dropping tomorrow on YouTube is not going to be about lasers and laser engraving and LightBurn. I've had so many of my patrons and so many people have reached out to me, and we get this question a lot. Even I've had it here several times. What do you sell this for? How do you value your product? And it's going to be business. How do you price that product? That's tomorrow's video on YouTube.
All right, Steve, are you ready? You got a pencil ready to write these down?
I got a pencil. Am I ready? I can't write. Right.
Open notepad.
Hey, you know what? Thank you. That's exactly right. Because I won't be able to read. You think I'm kidding, but after my stroke, I have no control over my hands.
All right. Count me down.
Okay, hang on one second. Steve, how many are we doing?
3.
Okay, so we're getting ready to draw the first one. We've got 72 entries. And here we go. Are you ready? 3.
Ready.
2, 1. First one. Drum roll, please. And there we go. B. Gilroy, 66.
Hold that right 1 second.
That's okay. I'm going to leave it on the screen. So now what you need to do is send an email to
Hobo
with wood at Gmail. I'm sorry. Hobo with wood at gmail.com, and put down there that you won the game. And
I'll put that in the comments.
Yeah, obviously your shipping address.
And obviously make sure that you put your shipping address. Let me know when you're ready, Steve.
Ready.
Okay, here we go. 3, 2, 1, go. Winner number 2 is Cliff Parker. Congratulations, Cliff. You won a tic-tac-toe game. Cliff Parker. Send an email to hobowithwood@gmail.com. Easy enough to remember. And let him know your shipping address and that you won the game.
And the next one?
Okay, here we go. 3, 2, 1, go. Next and final winner is...
No.
Patrick, cut that out.
I never win anything. Are you kidding me?
Okay, no, well, you're not getting it.
You got a nice I want it coming.
3, 2, 1, go. That wasn't nice.
Of course.
Chad Fisher.
Hey, Chad. Yay, Chad. All right. Now, one important thing, guys. I didn't know this till today when I went to go research shipping costs. Monday is a holiday. The post office is closed Monday, so it'll be Tuesday before I can get there and get stuff out. So I'll get these out Tuesday and get me your email before then, and they'll be in the mail to you Tuesday.
Yeah, and one thing that we should probably say is that if you don't email by a certain time, that you lose the prize, because I get so many emails every day. I'm sure you all do too. That we got to put some type of time limit on it. I know I'm going to do that in my future ones.
Yeah, just do it right now. As soon as just send me an email, name and address, and it's over, done.
Well, also make sure they're in the USA.
Yeah. Oh yeah, got to be USA only, guys. So if you're not USA, let us know now so that we can draw one more. And I just wanted to repeat that all of the files that you saw tonight are going to be available on the thelasermakersrealm.com website. It'll be the top blog post. When you click on that blog post, you'll see this video. Right below that, you'll see a zip file download. It's already there, and it's ready to download right now. No waiting this week.
And if you're a gold level patron, you already got this. If you're not and you want to be, go for it. But this will be on hobowithwood.com, and you can buy this whole big package.
Yeah, all of our information is down there, scrolling on the bottom of the screen. Our YouTube channels, our website addresses, and that's about it for tonight. So I want to thank everybody for being here, and we will see you all again in 2 weeks' time. Two weeks, Saturday night, same time, same bat channel.
I've already got Brian's email. Thank you, Brian. And he's down there in Louisiana. You just get you to make it and you can deliver to it.
Thanks for watching, everybody. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in 2 weeks. Have a great night. Have a good rest of the weekend.